With Memorial Day approaching, I thought I would talk about an issue that's nearly as somber as the day itself: the U.S. veteran homeless population, or what is also known as the Forgotten Warriors. Welcome to Keeping History on Two Wheels. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell. That way you'll know whenever we do an upload, and we do one each and every week.
This thing was on, wasn't it? I hope so.
If you scour the internet, you can find all sorts of numbers for estimated homeless veterans, populations for any given year, location, and causes. But as with any question you have for any subject, you want to go to the minimum estimated for anything where someone is catching the heat for that situation. You always go to the person or persons responsible for taking care of that situation for the conservative numbers. So for this situation, let's go to the Veterans Administration, who, as we all know, have been catching the brunt of these issues for years. According to the VA, on any given night, there are a minimum of 50,000 U.S. veterans living on the streets with nowhere to go. There are so many suspected causes for this situation that is plaguing our country that you could literally read a book on each one every day for a year and only be skimming the surface. This issue is not a new one. There have always been a number of homeless veterans after every war. It really started coming to the forefront about 10 years after the return of the Vietnam soldiers. And in recent years, we have seen a spike in the numbers since the beginning of the wars in the Middle East and Southwest Asia areas. The general consensus for this one is of what's called layered deployments. A layered deployment is a situation where a soldier gets deployed multiple times within a given time frame, let's say 10 years. Now you will see a different number of deployments within the same time frame depending on the service branch. Each branch has a given return to the deployment bucket time period for their members. The Marines and the Army have a shorter time at home before they go back in the bucket than, say, the Navy or the Air Force. So the layered deployment issue kicks in for those branches considerably more than the Air Force or the Navy. Also, the Air Force and the Navy have job classifications that, well, quite often mirror their civilian counterparts. But that's a whole different issue altogether. The layered deployment issue is this: the soldier gets deployed and sees combat. He is told what to wear, when to eat, what to eat, and when to sleep. His only decision that he has to make is what is it going to take to complete the mission and come home alive from him. That's it. Then the soldier comes home. He or she may have PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder issues, or a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury. These issues are the ones that might be so small at the time that it goes undetected. So the soldier reacclimates to being home with the family and the normal work life, but then they get redeployed. They suffer the same issues all over again. This time when they come home, their issues are a little bit more serious, but still go undiagnosed for whatever reason. They reacclimate, but this time they find it a little harder. Then they redeploy again. It's not uncommon in today's military for a Marine or a soldier to have many deployments under their belts before they even hit 10 years of service. And then they exit the military and they find themselves making every decision on their own and doing so with these undiagnosed medical issues. And that is a recipe for disaster. Now enters the VA and the outprocessing of the branch process. Both can be overwhelming. The military is doing a much better job these days than they were, let's say just a decade ago. But some would say they are still way behind the curve. The country has been at war for almost 20 years, and it is because of the rise of these situations that the military have developed these processes for exiting personnel. And in a nutshell, they are doing well with it. But the VA is not the military. The VA for decades have been plagued with a stigmatism that, well, has been rightfully deserved. And they have been letting these issues get the best of them for years. The VA readily admits now that on any given day, there are a minimum of 50,000 homeless vets. And at one count, there were 387,947 vets with TBIs since the year 2000. And in 2015, the Inspector General reported that there were 307,000 vets that died waiting on pending health care claims. And to this date, the number of vet suicides per day is still 20 to 22. That's over 8,000 a year. These numbers from the agency in charge of taking care of these military members. The agency that has been demonized by the members that they are responsible for and the media. But in recent years, there's been a change. The VA is now trying to get ahead of the situation. They are building facilities such as this one here in Savannah, Georgia, where the veterans can now get VA medical care in their local hometown instead of, say, having to travel from Savannah, Georgia to Charleston, South Carolina just to get a blood draw. And in 2017, President Donald J. Trump signed the Veterans Choice Program Extension and Improvement Act, ensuring military veterans can continue receiving health care in the civilian sector when care is not easily accessible from a Veterans Affairs Department provider. He said after signing, the veterans have poured out their sweat and blood and tears for this country for so long, and it's time they're recognized. And it's time that we now take care of them and take care of them properly. The VA and the military aren't the only ones trying to help. Local communities all over the nation are mobilizing in their own ways to try to mitigate these issues for our beloved veterans. Many homeless veterans are given a much needed assistance with social, health, legal, and court services from San Diego County departments and other agencies each year over a 3-day weekend as part of what's known as Stand Down. The Veterans Village of San Diego has hosted the 3-day event each year since 1988 at San Diego High School to bring resources and services to homeless veterans and their family members. Steve Binder was a public defender who said that Stand Down is a 3-day window of opportunity for homeless veterans and their loved ones to try to reclaim their lives by addressing predicaments involving health, hunger, legal or warrant problems, and veterans benefits. Binder, who helped establish Homeless Court at the second Stand Down in 1989, said it gives homeless veterans a chance to resolve their misdemeanor cases and infractions by engaging in program activities and addressing the circumstances that led to their offenses. The court considers participation in treatment and other programs when it dismisses cases, satisfies terms and conditions of probation, or accepts a guilty plea. Binder said that in addition to misdemeanor crimes, they are also scheduling follow-up appointments with people who need to address outstanding felony crimes as well. There are ways to step up to the plate, and it's not always easy or pleasant, but it's work to be done, said Binder. You can get a phenomenal amount of work done in just 3 days. The Stand Down program is now starting to sweep the country as a shining example of how the community can assist in these issues that are wreaking havoc with our veterans and their families. One such community is Savannah, Georgia. A group founded in 1989 by Georgia's legislature, CSAH acts as a coordinating and leadership body for the homeless services in Chatham County. CSAH works in partnership with nonprofit service providers, government officials, business leaders, and the faith community to reduce and eliminate homelessness. Annually in Chatham County, CSAH and its Continuum of Care, or COC partners, assist over 4,000 individuals, youths, and families. CSAH works with community leaders to educate the public about why homelessness occurs and advocates for needed change with elected officials, government and business leaders, and the private nonprofit sector. Savannah, home to Hunter Army Airfield and the 3rd Infantry Division, is located just outside of Savannah in Hinesville. It is also home to the 165th Airlift Wing and the Coast Guard. Chatham-Savannah Authority for the Homeless, or CSAH, began a project for the homeless veterans in the area called the Colburn Dundee Tiny House Project. These tiny 16 by 8, 128 square foot homes are being built to rent out to the homeless vets for $240 a month. For this rent amount, they receive a home, medical care clinic located on the facility, and assistance with VA benefits and local organizations to help them regain their life. I challenge each and every one of you to get involved in some manner within your community to assist a Veterans Assistance Group and help with these issues. After all, the veterans did their parts. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell as well. And always remember, every trip starts with a step, and that step, well, it starts with you.